Hello everyone and welcome to Apex Online Racing PC F1 round number 1 here at Austria. I do apologize for the insanely long delay here, but now we are back in qualifying. I've been trying to get my new sim hub overlay that I had to give us some good presentation, but it was not working, and combine that with a few other technical difficulties today. It has not been so ideal, so we will just be going with the in-game overlay for now. We'll get the intro set back up. Not sure why I was having so many issues, but, you know, I'll get to the bottom of it. No worries. A little summary of what's been going on in the session. The track started out wet. It was intermediate conditions at the start of the session, and drivers were having a really hard time getting down prospective lap times, but now the session has dried up. It's been dry since about 10 minutes to go, and right now Lenny is currently sitting in P1. He just did a 102.189. That is a really fast lap by Lenny there. Jan Fehler, who, if we all remember, last season had some great performances, is currently sitting P2, the German driver, having a pretty good qualifying outing so far. What I'll do is I'll try to go ahead and give each of these drivers a little bit of their own introduction, a little bit of history the best I can. Jan Fehler in the McLaren, currently sitting P2 on what is a final lap. He's currently almost a tenth up in the first sector. He's going to have to find 2 more tenths, though, in the ensuing 2. In third place right now is Korsak, the Chinese driver, coming out of the final corner in the racing point. He goes up to P2 on that lap, but he has not improved anymore. Christian Sandel returning in the Ferrari once again. He just hopped Korsak by 1/1000th of a second, but he's still over 3 tenths off of Lenny. Lenny currently dominating the field right now. But what does Jan Fehler? Does Jan Fehler have an answer? No, Jan Fehler still only a tenth up on his lap. Patrick will not improve from P6 in the AlphaTauri. Coming out the final corner, we have one of the Red Bulls. That looks like it is Soulflies. But let's go back to Jan Fehler. Coming out of the final corner now. How far up can Fehler go up the order? He goes P2, 2 tenths off pole. Great lap. He will be on the front row for now. Duza's coming. Oh no, Duza's the middle sector. We currently have F1 Racer across the line. His session is over. We got one of the Renaults in the pits. We got an AlphaTauri coming through the final center. That is Kev Jennings. Kev Jennings will return to the pits. He will not improve anymore. Is that Acti or is that Korsak? That is Korsak coming up. Will Korsak? No, Korsak is returning to the pits. We got the other McLaren of Brownie coming out of the final corner. What kind of lap will Brownie set? Brownie goes with a 103.5. Not much doing for Brownie today, as many other drivers come back to the pits now. As the session has ended, Lenny will be starting from pole in the Renault. What a lap, a 102.189. Alongside him will be Jan Fehler, and then behind them, Christian Sandel. That is your top 3 for the race. Korsak will be starting P4, Duza P5, By Blue P6, Patrick P7, Max AMG P8, VL Dead P9, F1 Racer P10, VL Fernandez P11. I'm going to have to work on, I believe it's Ojciech. I'm going to have to really work on that name. I do apologize. Ojciech. We're just going to go with it. I do apologize again. Kev Jennings P13, Acti P14. In P15 is Maestro Hoffi. P16 is Reges. 17th Soulflies. 18th Moxie. 19th Taisu. And rounding out our grid today is Brownie F1. We got ourselves a full grid here, ladies and gentlemen, and it should be plenty of fun. So I do once again apologize for that initial delay. We'll go ahead, and while we wait for the official end of session results, as drivers get wheeled back in to their garages now, the top 10 will all start on the soft compound of tires, since that is what they have to do according to Parc Ferme. As the game shows us one of the McLarens. It looks like Jan Fehler's McLaren there. As we look at the official starting grid. Now, I did see someone got a 5-place grid penalty. That was Patrick during qualifying. The Polish driver did suffer from that fate. Lenny is on pole, though. The Frenchman having a phenomenal session. 2 tenths faster than the rest of the grid. Jan Fehler P2, Christian Sandel P3. Take a look at the whole grid now, just in case anyone would like to see any driver that they are a fan of. If you got any drivers you're cheering on, just let us know in the chat. But that is your starting grid. We got plenty of new drivers in the field today, along with some returning drivers as well. So we'll look to continue to give more information on that as we go throughout the season. I'm going to hold on real fast, pull on the cover. I'm going to ensure we can give some of these drivers a little proper little intro. The race is sunny out, so there's no signs of rain at this time. Let me just confirm. Yes, it does not look like we'll have any rain at this moment. Should be an exciting race. It's going to be 36 laps around this Red Bull Ring here in Spielberg, Austria for the Austrian Grand Prix. It's going to be an exciting one. It's probably one of my favorite tracks on the calendar, and I know a lot of drivers in the grid really do enjoy Austria as well. So we're going to go ahead and get something set up real fast for me while the drivers currently get their setups set accordingly, get their race strategy set up so that way they can go out on track for the formation lap. Now, one thing to note is the normal tire strategy will be a soft to medium, with the reverse strap being a medium soft. I don't expect to see anyone on the hard tires unless there is an early safety car or someone has to pit like lap 1 due to damage, because the hard tire really is not an optimal tire to use around this track. And with it's a very quick lap, as you saw in qualifying with 102s. Race pace, we should see 106s into 105s, which could vary based off of what drivers on what tire compound. If drivers doing the reverse strap might even go into the 104s, maybe in a 103 fastest lap is possible today during the race. But that is all to be determined here. Looking at the grid, we've got the proper roster here. So we got a couple things to note going through. So we got several returning F1 drivers from the previous season. One of the first ones being Jan Fehler, starting P2. So he is the first one to note. He is not only the coordinator, but he is also the highest up the grid who's a returning driver. Jan Fehler had a really good season, highlighted by his win at Brazil on track. Brownie is another returning driver. He's going to be teaming up with Fehler in the McLaren. Brownie's qualifying lap definitely isn't retrospective to his normal pace. Brownie's he's a driver who's always had a lot of really good pace, so he's starting all the way down 20th on the hard tire, so apparently he's decided he's going to go with it. But I do expect to see him claw his way through the field. Another returning driver is Christian Sandel in Tier 1. Christian Sandel was always battling up towards the front, but didn't really get a chance to really step on the top step of the podium. He got close, but he was never able to fully get that position. We also have other drivers to note. Tisu is one of several drivers who've moved up through the ranks of AOR, where they were in lower tiers last season. But this season they've made it to the top tier. So congratulations to them. But it is well earned, as this field is a little spread out. But that is okay. We'll get plenty of good racing. As you can see, the tire compound's chosen top 10 all on softs. 11th, or no, excuse me, Fernandez qualified on mediums. I must have missed that somehow. Oh, no, never mind. Fernandez qualified on softs because Patrick had the 5-place grace penalty, promoting Fernandez up to 10th. So he's the highest runner who was able to have a free choice compound. Most drivers in the back starting on the mediums with respect to Maestro, Moxie, and Brownie, who are on the hard, soft, and hard tires respectively. It's a 36-lap race. Should be very entertaining here as they return to the grid to form up and wait for the lights to go out. So round 1 of Season 21 is about to be underway here for PCF1. Hold on to your drinks and your hats, everyone, because it's going to be a thriller. Austria always provides some great racing here, and now everyone is on the grid. We're getting set and ready to go racing. There's a good view. We got 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And they are out. We are underway here. Fehler gets a very good start. He's already alongside Lenny. He's actually going to be a nose ahead going into turn 1. Jan Fehler holding the inside line. Lenny trying to swoop around the outside. They're going to go side by side on the run into the hairpin of turn 3. We got Alfa Romeo right behind him of Christian Sandel. Korsak has dropped off a little bit there. They're going to go 3 wide into the hairpin. No, they're not. Jan Fehler holding the inside line. Lenny trying to get the grip around the outside, but Fehler holds the inside line. He will hold on to the lead. But will Lenny respect spawned on the run down to turn number 4. He's right up on that rear diffuser of that McLaren up ahead, but the German holds on to the lead for now, and he holds back the Frenchman. Behind him, Christian Sandel in the P3, Corsac down to P4. It looks like Fernandez must have had an issue. The Brazilian all the way down to P19 off the start. Not sure what happened to him in the Williams, but he's all the way towards the back right now. Meanwhile, if we look at, we've got Moxie and Regas, the two Haas drivers, battling it out through the middle sector, swapping positions. Moxie on the move with those softs. Right now, most of the other drivers kind of holding position towards the front. Jan Fehler leading them away at the end of this first lap. Lenny PNR in P2. So there's Max AMG in P2, but that is a little bit of desync there. We're going to have to let it fix itself. P3 is actually Christian Sandel. P4 is Corsac in that Racing Point, so that has not fully updated. Just ignore the leaderboard for now, because if you go to Max AMG, you can see he is a little farther down. That is just some desync from the game being a little funny. Do not worry about that. We'll let that fix out. We got, it looks like Duza, though, on the rear bumper of Max AMG. We'll go on board with him now. He's got a good run, still has plenty of battery, but no DRS enabled this lap. DRS will not be enabled until next lap. And so these drivers are going to have to do the best they can, but there's going to be a huge DRS train. You can see there's a little bit of cluster in the back. Maestro Hoffy on the rear bumper of Tisu, and Brownie on the move on those hards. He went around the outside into turn 4, and he will have the position through 5 and now 6. Like I was saying, so 6 is that left-hander, 7th is the following one. This is turn 8 right here. It's actually 10 corners, I do apologize. Yes, 10 very fast corners is a very fast lap. Kev Jennings up to 11th. He made a move on Ajciek. I'm going to keep working on that as Lenny goes fastest with a 106.1, kind of the anticipated race pace, but the medium runners have fallen off the back a little bit of the soft tire runners. There's already DRS has been broken between Patrick and his teammate, but towards the front now, Lenny really flying. He's on the rear bumper of Jan Fehler now, coming out of the hairpin. Is he going to drain that battery? He's jumping the overtake. He's got the DRS. He's going to swoop to the inside line. Jan Fehler does not have the time to go defensive. And Lenny in the Renault will be a little hot under the brakes, but he takes the lead nice and cleanly. Jan Fehler will be sitting right behind. He will take his time now. He will not defend that too hard. And Lenny's up to P1. Jan Fehler down to P2. A little farther down the back, Moxie and Acti going side by side through the middle sector, but the Haas will have the better traction. And Moxie up to P13, Acti down to 14th, with Ajciek being the first driver to pick up a penalty today. 3-second time penalty. Warnings will be very easily accumulated over the course of this race, as Lenny goes fastest expectedly as he had DRS and took the race to lead with the slipstream. But will Jan Fehler have an answer on this lap going into the hairpin? Lenny is flying out in front. He's got almost a 6/10 lead, but you got that huge DRS train behind, so you got to be really careful. The whole top 10 all in one DRS train. Looks like Soulfly's in for an early pit stop. Not sure if he has any damage. Ooh, he had it as a wing change. Looks like his left end plate was missing, so that's very heartbreaking for Soulfly's, but he's probably going to try to go to the end. He's on the hard, so he's going to go to the end of the race. The Belgium driver looking to have a good recovery. We'll see what he can do in that Red Bull. Meanwhile, looking through the field, looks like Moxie still hanging to the rear end. Well, you know, he's caught up to the rear end of the Alfa Romeo ahead. He's really trying to make those soft tires work. He needs to clear these medium runners as quickly as possible, because they're just going to be lightning later on in the race. The pit window, though, for these soft tires, which will degrade a decently fast, is probably between laps 11 through 15, and there's such a big window because the earlier you come into pits, the longer you have to take the mediums out for, and if you're not careful with your setup, they will degrade a lot. So we'll have to wait and see when some of these drivers decide to pull the trigger, but the undercut here is very, very powerful. So with all these cars in DRS range of each other, it might be free positions gained going for an undercut, but at what cost? We'll have to wait and see now. Looking back up towards the front of the field, drivers going purple in the first sector was Christian Sandel, but that is expected as the fuel cars get lighter. The tires still haven't fallen off. Moxie, meanwhile, making the move stick well before the hairpin on the Alfa Romeo driver behind. Ooh, it looks like we have an issue with the Alfa Romeo. It looks like he kind of spun on the exit. Not sure if there was any contact there, but it looks like he kind of had a little bit of a struggle. And now the Alfa Romeo is all the way down into 16th position. Oh, it looks like a late move by Maestro Hoffy. Space is left, and the Alfa Romeo goes way too wide. Looks like he didn't expect that half move there, but it looks like Ajciek's race, or Ajciek. I'm gonna if anyone knows the correct pronunciation, please correct me. But right now, the Alfa Romeo down in 17th. Also, please let me know if there's any technical difficulties with frame drops or anything. I increased my visual settings, and there shouldn't be any issues. I'm not seeing much in the way of lost frames, but if it's looking stuttery, just always please let me know, because I want to optimize the experience for you guys. Hence why I was trying it to get the UI going. Moxie picks up a 3-second time penalty. So did Duza that previous lap as well. So that will hurt people. There's also a huge gap between the medium and soft tire runners. You know, Kev Jennings 3.8, almost 4 seconds behind his teammate. So that gap is crucial for now. And when these guys come and pit for the fresh mediums, they'll change things up. Brownie, meanwhile, has already pitted. He must have taken some wing damage or something. He's on the mediums. I don't believe he can go to the end from lap 6. So he's going to still have one more stop in him, but that's very unfortunate for the German driver today. He's going to come out, though, right behind Soulflies, so he must have had a wing change for sure, and he's going to have to pit one more time this race before the end. We'll be starting lap number 7 very soon. Lenny leading us out of the final quarter. Jan Fehler in tow, Christian Sandel, Korsak, Max, AMG, Duza, By Blue, F1 Racer, Deads, and Patrick rounding out your top 10. A pretty close field. Everyone's still in DRS range. By Blue falling off the back of Duza a little bit, barely staying in DRS range. That Renault really needs to get a move on, because that Renault team's looking to score some big points in the Constructors, with his teammate being the current race leader. Right now, the Mercedes are also looking very good right now, sitting in 6th and 8th, right around the likes of By Blue. The AlphaTauri is also not looking too bad. You got Patrick at the back of this queue. Soulflies picks up a penalty. It looks like he's going to be under pressure from Brownie down the front straight. Brownie makes the move stick well before turn 1. But yeah, back to the AlphaTauris right now. You got Kev Jennings leading the medium tire runners on the alternate strategy, and Patrick still with that front group. So the AlphaTauris, do not count them out today, even though they're not on a track for high points. You know, we might see them rebound as the race goes on. Though up towards the front, his teammate Patrick, all on the rear bumper of Deads, the Brazilian up ahead, kind of stuck in between him and F1 Racer. You can see there's a little bit of bar, so I don't believe there shouldn't be much in the way of connection issues, because plenty of these drivers, I do know they have raced with each other before, and I've seen the footage, and usually the connections are perfectly fine. We have a Williams into the pits. That is Fernandez, the other Brazilian on the grid, currently into the pits right now. We'll see what he's going to be putting on. I would assume a set of hard compounded tires, but let's go back up real fast to Patrick. He's trying to make a move on Deads in the hairpin. The other Brazilian now is having to defend from the AlphaTauri behind. Patrick's getting a good run into turn number 4. Deads goes defensive, but then chooses the outside line. Ooh, he kind of squeezes Patrick on the A-track apex, and Patrick is round. That is very bad news for the AlphaTauri there. A little bit of moving under braking from Deads, though, so I'm sure Patrick will not be too happy about that. But right now, Deads will hold on to the position. Patrick loses out some time and loses DRS. Another driver who lost DRS, though, is By Blue. He has lost DRS to Duza. He's trying to push and get it back in the final sector right now, but he's still 1.1 behind. He will not have DRS going down the front straight, so that is a huge development there. Speaking of DRS, though, we got a huge train forming behind Acti of Maestro, Hoffi, Taisu, and Azicek. So the 4 of them all on the alternative strategy within several tenths of each other. Curious to see if anyone will try to make a move. Let's go right on board with the Red Bull in that train. You see Maestro, Hoffi looking to try to find his way around Acti. As Acti picks up a 3-second time penalty. It's hard to tell if he really extended there, but that is unfortunate. Might have cut the apex. Either way, though, the Ferrari up ahead looking very spicy. He's going to switch to the right-hand side of the track, go down the inside of Acti, but he's not late enough on the brakes on the inside. Just doesn't feel like he has the grip advantage in the hards at this time. Maestro Hoffi is going to go again. Let's go right on board with the Ferrari. He's dumping all the ERS. He's alongside, and he's up ahead of Acti into the braking zone. Gets that car turned in. Leaves just enough space for the racing point, and the Ferrari is up to P14. Acti down to P15 for now. A nice little overtake there for position 14. Not for any points, but that could matter later on when these guys do pit onto the softs later in the race. But up towards the front now, you can see the real difference in pace. By Blue now 2 seconds behind Duza, so that front 6 now, trying to run away from the rest of the field. They're looking mighty quick right now. Korsak being the closest behind anyone else. Really keeping with Christian Sandel. See how much battery he has running on board. He's got almost a full tank. So Korsak looking really good, the Chinese driver. Formerly racing in America's F1 was very quick over there, and now he's over in European F1 a few seasons later. So curious to see what he has to offer today in the Racing Point. But he's got some tough competition. F1 Racer, meanwhile, making the move on Blue Stick into turn 4, and now in through 5 and 6. The Mercedes is up a position, had a nice move. It really helped that Blue didn't have the DRS, but these guys are now 3 seconds behind the likes of Duza and the cars up ahead. So now that with F1 Racer at the front of the queue, he's going to have to really get a move on if he wants to get back into contention and battle with, keep with his teammate and the front runners. Because right now it's looking like a 6-horse race for the victory. 5-horse if you account for Duza's penalty. But we're only on lap 11 out of 36. The pit window, I would say, is open for the soft tire runners. I mean, with Brownie, Fernandez, and Soulflies all coming to the pits for what I would assume to be unplanned pit stops. So now the planned pit stops should start coming in for the drivers on the main strategy. So I'll have to see now. It looks like Blue goes a little deep, and Deads is going to get the position on the Renault. So the Renault's going backwards right now. Patrick's actually closing in on these guys. So keep an eye on this battling as it develops. Getting some pretty good action there. All of them locking up. You can see how worn those tires must be. A little farther back, though, Taisu is behind Acti. He's going to go looking like he's trying to go for a late move on Acti, but it looked like Acti was able to deploy a little bit more battery and stay ahead. They're really close on the mini-map. But at this time, Taisu currently chilling in a 16. He's kind of stuck behind the Racing Point, while Maitre Hoffy was able to pull away and already gap him by a second and break the DRS there. A little farther back, Fernandez was able to clear Soulflies as well. So a few more battles going on that we haven't been able to fully keep up with, but that's okay because we still got plenty of action left on lap 12 now. No one's into the pits just yet now. Can't say I'm too surprised because of the tire wear. It's a matter of who will pull the trigger up front. Lenny still leading the way. He's got Jan Fehler in tow. Jan Fehler literally getting all the way onto the back of him. Deads, though, meanwhile, is making the move stick on F1 Racer well before the hairpin. And the Brazilian is all of a sudden coming to life now. I mean, these guys are 4.5 behind the race leaders. But what will he do in defense from F1 Racer behind? F1 Racer doesn't look like he's got the overspeed, but he's got the inside line. Deads is going to leave the space. They're going to go side by side coming out of the corner, and the Mercedes retakes the position that he lost a few corners ago. A very nice battling between the two of them as Fernandez picks up a time penalty. And the Mercedes re-overtakes the Williams for P8. Now, looking at the front runners, we've got several guys coming to the pits. Jan Fehler diving into the pits. Behind him is Max AMG. There's Max. Two front runners going for that undercut, and that should trigger a lot of movers. Blue into the pits as well from P9. He's going to dive into the pits. We also got another car. Looks like Moxie in the background pitting off of those softs. So 4 drivers into the pits now going for that undercut. We'll also see how far behind Brownie is and Fernandez and Soulflies is in retrospect from these other guys. But interestingly enough, though, Brownie's teammate, Jan Fehler, is coming out in heavy traffic. He's coming out by all the guys on the reverse strategy. This may ruin his undercut. I don't think he could have predicted this, but these guys are perfectly a pit window behind the leaders. So Lenny better be paying attention to his mini-map, because if he sees where Jan Fehler just came out, he might want to stay out a little bit longer, along with Christian, Sandel, and Korsak, because this is certainly ruining Jan Fehler's outlap and his chances of getting a mighty undercut here. I mean, yeah, he's got free DRS, but there's hella traffic here, and this could completely put a cork on the bottle in his plans. I mean, a little farther behind him, if you look at Max AMG, is a few seconds behind. Both, interesting enough, both drivers have pitted, four drivers have pitted, all on the hard compounded tire. I guess they do not believe that the medium will last to the end of the race. But Lenny, our race leader, into the pits. Behind him, F1 Racer, Christian Sandel, Korsak, and Duzal, all staying out. Now the question is, where will they come out in retrospect to that huge train of cars? Did they pull off enough of an overcut? F1 Racer will certainly come out in the train. But what about Lenny? Where's Lenny going to come out? He's leaving the pits now. He's accelerating. But you can see there's got the Haas of Reges already ahead of him. But he's got a little bit of a gap to Jan Fehler. Fehler really held up. He's got 3 cars in between him and Lenny. Lenny just needs to clear the Haas of Reges up ahead. But he's going to have to go for a late move here on those fresh, hard tires. He does not go for the move at this time. And Lenny, it will stay behind Reges, but he's got DRS now on the straight. He needs to clear the Haas so he can kind of just run away. There he goes to the right-hand side of the track. And there he goes, Lenny, up to P7. And he's got several cars in between him and his rivals. So that is huge. Jan Fehler getting absolutely ruined by this traffic. By Blue and F1 Racer battling in the background. By Blue came in for an undercut, made it work on F1 Racer, and the two of them battling it out, but they're way behind the train. Korsak staying out even longer. Christian Sandel and Duza also into the pits. They're hoping that they were able to overcut that train that's currently led by Lenny, who's trying to break the DRS on Reges. Meanwhile, Jan Fehler is still stuck behind Meister Hoffy and Acti as well. So several cars between the few of them. Christian Sandel is going to come out in the train. Look at that. Like he's in P8 now. He's coming around the apex. Oh, he smacks the wall. He might have taken a little bit of front wing damage there. He's going to come out behind Jan Fehler, but ahead of Tisu. So Christian Sandel, by staying out longer, was not able to overcut this field. So that is huge. You know, this whole train of cars is ruining these guys on the main strategy. It's going to really help their races later on because they're slowing up these guys on the fresh medium tires. Lenny is going to run away, though, right now. He's got over a second gap to the cars behind. Also note, Christian Sandel, out of everyone, is one of the few drivers who just pitted who's on mediums. You know, the other guys put on hard. So very curious to see that happen. I thought these guys would go soft medium, but I guess they had a change of plans. Korsak now, our current race leader, into the pits to get off of those softs. He must have seen that that huge train that he would have to get stuck in. He's probably going to put on the mediums at this point because they can go to the end, along with Deads and Patrick, all of them into the pits. Patrick almost steaming into the back of Deads, neither of them getting a speeding penalty, thankfully, but that's horrible. Now the train of cars, looks like Lenny is through. He's going to be up to P2. Korsak's going to come well behind the train of cars, so he was not able to overcut these guys as well. So that is interesting. Korsak coming out all the way back behind Duza and Max AMG. So he has been undercut significantly by some of these guys. Well, look at here. Look at Reges trying to battle on the rear end. You got Christian Sandel going for a move on Jan Fehler. That is battling for net position as both these guys have pitted. Christian Sandel making those mediums work now. And Sandel up a place currently as he goes into the heavy braking zone of P4. He got the move done into the hairpin and said, see you later. Now he's got several cars. He's got 2 cars to dispatch to get to Lenny. But interestingly enough, Lenny is 3 seconds up the road from Christian at this time. And Lenny's gaining on Kev Genix every single corner. So I'm not sure where this helicam came from, but we'll go on board with Lenny right now. He sees 1.2 behind. The clouds are getting dark. So I do not believe we'll have rain in our forecast now as Christian Sandel makes a move on Reges before turn 9. That was a very interesting spot to make an overtake, but it looks like Jan Fehler is not able to make those hards work to get the overtake done. He's going to go to the right-hand side of Reges, though. Finally clear the Haas driver, but Fehler's had a lot of trouble clearing this lab traffic. His car does not seem to want to work for overtaking right now, so he might be running a lot more downforce than some of the other guys around him. But that is huge if you're Christian Sandel. You can see Christian now going up the inside of Meister Hoff. He's really getting the move on. He knows that his rival is now 4 seconds up the road, and Lenny's going to make the move on Kev Genix and will retake the lead on track now officially. He wasn't that race leader after pit stops, and now he is the actual race leader. Jan Fehler is able to clear Meister Hoffy as well, so that he's finally getting a move on down the order. Korsak, though, he has a little bit of a spin behind him. Looks like F1 Racer. No. Taisu Blue? No. Taisu has spun around. I think there was contact between him, By Blue, and F1 Racer because we saw a bunch of guys move around there. Not sure what happened, but Taisu is the biggest loser of them all. He's going to be way farther back, and he's still on his starting compound of tire. So heartbreak for him there as Lenny goes fastest with a 105.8 on those hards. Very impressive stuff from the Renault driver. Lenny, a little bit of background on him. He is, I believe, a rookie to AOR. Or at least he's moved up. He's a rookie to F1, and the Frenchman here had some very quick hot lap times for TT, and it's clearly showing his overall pace. Is now he has, if you would look at the timing board, he has 3.7 seconds to Christian Sandel as a penalty and 4.5 to Jan Fehler. Kev Genix in between has not pitted yet, so that is huge. That is very, very huge. He's just dominating this race today. Looking back, Korsak on the rear end of Duza right now. You know, it's a little bit of a Racing Point sandwich there. People call it the pink Mercedes. He's currently sandwiching the actual Mercedes of Duza there. Acti, one of several drivers in this cluster here that's on their starting compound tires still. They will be going on to soft soon. I don't think they'll pit for another like 4 or 5 laps. But Duza, you can see there, he doesn't have any extra ERS. He's still trying to recharge and harvest his battery. Meanwhile, Acti up ahead.
I believe I've not seen his light go off. I mean, it's a little hard to see from this angle. Christian Sandel does a 105.6. That's some really fast stuff from the Alfa Romeo. Now dudes are trying to go to the right side. He just doesn't have the battery. Looks like because his lack of battery is killing dudes right now. He's going to swing to the right hand side. He's got the DRS. Look at that. He's burning all of his ERS. But Acti is just staying ahead. We're going to go 3 wide, though, into the hairpin. Can Korsak pull the double overtake on his teammate and the Mercedes driver? He's got his teammate. Acti's going to lose 2 positions, but now, in the drive out of the hairpin, can Korsak get a better run? No, Duza's got the better traction on that outside line. And even though they went 3 wide into it, Korsak is not going to be able to get the double overtake there. Duza is up a position, Korsak up a position, Acti down 2. In the background, F1 Racer has made the overtake on the Alfa Romeo driver. And he is up to 11. He's got 1 more position to overtake in order to get back in the points. But it's good to see the Mercedes driver, who's a rookie to F1, but not a rookie to AOR, having a very strong performance today. Some fantastic stuff. A little farther up ahead, Christian Sandel has caught up to Kev Janix now. He's got the DRS down the main straight. He's going to switch to the right-hand side of the track and have that position done. We are on lap 20 out of 36 now, folks. So 19 laps gone, 17 to go. Plenty of time for anything to happen. We still have all 20 of our drivers today. Some great stuff. Taisu was one of the first drivers actually to pit off of those starting medium or hard compound tires. He's the first driver on the reverse stret to pit into softs. Now you could say that, you know, Brownie already pitted because he did start on hards, but Brownie has since pitted again. Taisu goes fastest on the softs. That is expected from the Red Bull driver. Jan Fehler, meanwhile, has cleared Kev Janix on the second, or I'd call it the third DRS straight per se, which it makes sense. Kev Janix is just trying to hang on for now. He's going to pit shortly onto the soft compound tire and be flying. The cloud cover, if you look up now, it's kind of stabilized, so it's kind of just an overcast right now. Doesn't look like we got any rain inbound, though the sky looks bad. Kev Janix going into the pits now, the AlphaTauri driver pulling the trigger. And it was about time. Christian Sandel picking up another time penalty. Let's take a look at the penalty situation right now. Christian Sandel with 11 seconds of penalties right now. That is not what you want to see if you're the Alfa Romeo driver. Behind him, Duza's got 6. Korsak's got 3. Acti with 3. By Blue with 3. Grid kind of shuffling up a bit as several drivers have come into the pits. I believe that is also the Alfa Romeo of Ajicek in the background as well. He's got 6-second penalties. Moxie with 6. Fernandez and Soulflies with 6. And Tisu with 9. As your penalty update, we got a lot of battling on track right now. We'll go ahead and look at the battle for P9 right now. F1 Racer holding off Acti. Actually, he made the move on him, I believe. Yes, no. He's holding up Acti because Korsak was able to clear the Mercedes a little while. We didn't get to see it. Looks like Reges has been overtaken by Korsak as well. He's on the charge. F1 Racer, meanwhile, having to defend from Acti. Meanwhile, Kev Janix down the grid on the fresh soft tires has overtaken Moxie, who's on an older set of hard tires right now. So Moxie going to the end on the hards. Kev Janix on fresh softs. He should be flying and lighting up our timing boards right now. We also have a little bit of a gaggle back for P17, but back up to the battle for P10. By Blue has overtaken Acti. Acti's into the pits, interestingly enough. So he is going to drop down the order. He's getting off of those old mediums. So is Reyes. So the drivers who started on one of the race compound tires going onto the softs now for that really fast pace. But meanwhile, Max AMG clearing his Ferrari teammate. Both Ferraris having a good day so far, with Max AMG being one of the guys who was in that front 6, while Maestro Hoffi is one of the guys on the reverse strat. He's been towards the front of that queue, so he should come out between Kev Janix and Reyes is kind of where he's predicted to come out, but he's got to pit soon if he wants to get the most out of those soft tires and not lose too much time. Meanwhile, towards the back, Soulflies. It's about only for P18, you know, not a whole lot going on, but we'll stay pay attention to it anyways. We've got a Red Bull sandwich with Fernandez in the middle. Give these guys some love in the back. And Soulflies keeps closing in on Fernandez, but it's not looking like he's able to make an overtake at this time. All 3 of these guys in the back, and sure, some of these other guys as well, would love a nice safety car at this stage of the race right now, because you look at Lenny. He's almost 2 sectors ahead of these guys. And some absolute, actually he is 2 sectors ahead of these guys. Some brilliant driving from the Renault driver as the field is kind of spread out a bit. But we have a little bit of a cluster in the battle for P5, led by Maestro Hoffi. He's still out there on those hard tires. Duza's going to make the move stick around him. And now Korsak trying to go around the outside as well. But it looks like he won't be able to do it in the hairpin now, but on the run now in turn 4. Korsak's got the DRS wide open. Mr. Hoffey has DRS from Duza, but it might not matter because the Racing Point's going to go up the inside, make a little bit of wheel bang. Both drivers lock up, and Korsak is through. Mr. Hoffey down to P7 on those hards. They're not working for him anymore. They're clearly dead. And as of right now, it is Racing Point 6, Ferrari back down to 7. Our top 6 all have pitted from the softs onto their second compound tire. Christian Sandel now 3.3 behind on the mediums, but he has got 11 seconds of time penalties, which is going to absolutely send him down the order, which is heartbreaking stuff for him. So Jan Fehler will most likely inherit P2. But still, plenty left. Lap 24 out of 36. Mr. Hoffey finally into the pits, getting rid of those worn hard tires. He is the last driver who needed to make a required pit stop now. And now everyone will have pitted once. We got 12 laps and 2 sectors to go. So a lot of stuff going on. Kev Jennings picking up a time penalty right now as he gets some positions from Maestro Hoffey. He's really dropping down the order. He's going to come out actually behind Regas, so by staying out that much longer, he lost all that time to the guys on the softs around him. But now I got Kev Jennings running in P11, trying to make a move on his teammate. See Patrick up ahead in the AlphaTauri. I don't believe Patrick's going to put up any defense. No, he's not. He thinks way better of it. Let his AlphaTauri teammate go through him and says, hey, you're on the faster tire. You're clearly faster right now. Pull me along, please. So good teamwork here from the pair in the AlphaTauri. Let's keep an eye, though, on the battle for P4 right now. It's what it's become. Max AMG in the Ferrari, having a superb day. He's got Duzer and Korsak all within a second of him. So this is the battle. This battle, I mean, Max AMG is going to win it out due to the penalties. Duzer's got 6, Korsak only 3. But this battle could be important if they get a penalty removed, and it's for a podium spot with Christian Sandel having 11 seconds of time penalties. So this is the battle for what will be net or P3. If Max AMG gets a penalty, that'll especially make it more important. Meanwhile, Brownie's looking a little slow in the final sector. He's coming into the pit lane now, I believe, for his second pit stop of the day. He's definitely running on a little bit of a interesting strategy. Not the best day for the German driver who started at the back of the grid. We'll keep an eye, though, on his progress. He'll probably light up our timing board and get a fastest lap and deny that from anyone at the front. So that does help the McLaren team. I mean, Jan Fehler running P3 right now. They'll get plenty of points, and it's definitely good to deny a point from a normal points-paying position driver. So, but the field is kind of spread out a bit. Fernandez has been passed by Soulflies towards the back. Christian Sandel picking up another 3-second time penalty. He's up to 14 seconds now. So that is just horrible, horrible, horrible stuff for the German driver. You know, this day, I mean, he's shown so much pace, but at what cost? And the penalty bug hopefully will not be too much of an issue for him this season. Most of the cars on the grid do have penalties at this point in the race. Some worse than others. But we're going to keep an eye on it right now because Lenny, our race leader, does not have a single penalty. He might have a warning or two. I mean, I'd be very impressed if he does not because he's showing some absolutely superb racing up front. But towards the back, Duza's going up for the inside of Max AMG. Hang on, folks. It's Mercedes versus Ferrari power on the exit of turn 4, now through 5 and into 6. And Duza is up a place. He has overtaken the Ferrari of Max AMG. And Duza on the move now, the German driver, clearing the Ferrari driver behind, trying to figure out the nationality of Max AMG. The Dutch driver, how about that? Another nationality represented, welcome. And the Dutch driver down to P5. With the German driver up to P4. Some interesting stuff right now from the drivers. But they're looking like they're all struggling. That little 3-car train here, they're all struggling with ERS recovery. They're all got blinking red lights, so that's interesting. Another thing that's interesting right now, Maestro Hoffey has caught up to Regas and Moxie. Now, Regas also on the softs, but his teammate of Moxie is on an older set of hard tires. So the two soft tire runners here should mount a very strong challenge now. They got the DRS wide open for the Haas and the Ferrari in the background. There goes Regas around his teammate, and Maestro trying to brake later than the hard tire runner to his right, and he will get way better traction through the corner, and he will have the move done. Kev Jennings, meanwhile, has overtaken Deads for P9. The AlphaTauri on the move, but here goes Maestro on the inside of Regas, who did not get DRS for that straight. And now Maestro takes passes 2 Haas's in 2 corners. How about that for the Ferrari driver? He is on the move. He's only 2 seconds behind Patrick, but then he's 7 seconds behind the points right now. He's on the move, and he's running down drivers on slower compounds of tires. So I'll have to wait and see what he can do. But it's looking good so far for the Ferrari team as well. So a lot of stuff can still happen right now. We have 8 some laps to go. Plenty of time for more overtakes, and Moxie picks up another time penalty. Brownie, meanwhile, went fastest overall. He's trying to run down Fernandez and Soulflies and not finish all the way at the back. Looks like Fernandez is coming to the pits right now, as well as Tisu, putting on a fresh set of sauce. Probably going to go for faster lap, but meanwhile, Corsac trying to go around the outside of Max AMG. The Chinese driver trying to clear the Dutch driver right now, but the Dutchman will hold on to the position for now. Gets a much better exit considering he had the inside line. And he will retain the position. He still has DRS, though, on Duza up ahead. So for now, he is a little safe. He's going to have that extra protection. But if these guys keep battling, it could shed tears for him. Meanwhile, Maestro Hoffy's completely run down Patrick in the span of like 2 laps. And like a lap, not even. He's also dragged along Regas with him. It was like a 2-second gap now. Patrick must have made a mistake, but Patrick's looking like he's going to go into the pits. Does he have wing damage, actually? No, he yielded there. He does have wing damage, so he's missing a left end plate. See him go way too wide. Not sure what Patrick's did. It might have just had a little mistake and taken some damage. You can see he's struggling all over the place. It's going to be tears for the AlphaTauri driver. He loses 2 positions there due to the fact that he has damage. Meanwhile, as he picks up a time penalty there as well. Meanwhile, Max AMG still trying to defend for his life against Corsac. Corsac still in tow. This is the battle for P4 right now. Drivers locking up through turn 4 right now. But nothing doing for anyone just yet. He's still got 6 laps to go. So plenty of time for Corsac to make a move, and for Max to make a move back on Duza. He's hoping he can keep some pressure on Duza, so Duza picks up a time penalty, because the only way he will beat him by the time they take the checkered flag. STC picks up another time penalty. He's up to 15. Oh my. That's a lot worse. That's unfortunate for the Red Bull driver. His day has not gone well at all. He had that spin early on and has since just struggled to make anything of it. But it is the first race of the season. It's a 12-race season, so there's plenty of time to make up some ground. We'll keep an eye on this battle, though, as it continues to develop. Meanwhile, Kev Jennings has run down Blue and F1 Racer. So Kev Jennings really looking to try to get some good points there. Dead's being dragged along with it. Actually, yeah, so he's pulled on Maestro Hoffy, 6.5 behind them. So he's not close up as much as we would have thought at this time. But a lot of stuff going on right now. Regas still sticking to the back of Maestro Hoffy. Let's go ahead and look at that. Look at the other Ferrari and Haas. They're kind of close together. One of a few drivers close on track, so we might as well keep an eye on the action wherever it unfolds. I think our best bet, that will be Kev Jennings right now. He's within half a second of Blue. The Renault up ahead. They both have 3-second time penalties, so this is for position. While F1 Racer does not have a penalty, so if F1 Racer picks up a time penalty, then it'll help him out there. It'll put this whole battle on level playing field, but F1 Racer just needs to stay within 3 seconds of Kev Jennings, assuming Kev even clears. But 9-lap-old softs probably not working much better than 16-lap-old mediums and 17-lap-old hards right now, so it's going to be a real bear to make the move stick at this time. Farther up the road, though, Corsac still trying to make the move on Max AMG. He gets right on the rear diffuser of the 2 cars up ahead. I mean, they literally go through the hairpin with nothing between them, but they spread out enough on exit. And you can see there, nothing doing for now. Nothing doing as well for Kev Jennings in the background. You can see Blue, though. He's on the rear bumper of F1 Racer as well. So these guys are flying right now. Everyone really close together on track when they're in, like, they're in DS range of each other, really, especially to braking. There's, like, nothing between the cars. But in the acceleration, you can see where the field splits up a bit, But once you lose the DRS, you can see who's really got the raw pace on the grid right now. And some of these drivers having some very impressive days, to say the least. I know one driver I'm definitely impressed about is Duza. He's only 4.4 behind Failer, and last season he was usually a little bit farther behind. So he's looking like he is returning to his ultimate form. Great to see him perform well But meanwhile, up ahead, though, he is under pressure. Speaking of which, Max AMG, you can see that. Look how close he gets under braking there from the helicopter shot. There's nothing between them. We got a yellow flag in Sector 2. That is the Williams of Fernandez slowing up as he's been lapped by our race leader of Lenny. Look at the rear wing of Max AMG. Ironically, the AMG car is in a Ferrari, so it's funny how that worked out. But Max still stuck in position behind him. Kev Genix, F1 Racer, and Blue still separated by basically nothing. Regas has not been able to re-overtake Maestro Hoffy up ahead. Two of them still on the same compound of tires. A little farther back, though, Patrick is on the rear bumper of Acti on those medium tires, but Patrick has damage. Fernandez has retired in the pit lanes. Not how the Brazilian wanted to start the season. He is our first retirement of the day, though. So very interesting thing to note. Still have 19 drivers running, so that is great stuff to see. And now with 3 laps and 2 sectors to go, is Lenny still leading the way with 4.3 seconds to Christian Sandel and another 2.4 back to Jan Fehler in third. But looking like right now, Kev Genix is the closest he's been in a while in F1 Racer. He's dumping the battery. You can see it. F1 Racer out of ERS. They're going to try to go 3 wide in the hairpin. No. Kev Genix backs out of F1 Racer, going up the inside of Blue. We'll see what he has to do. Racer gets a better exit out of the rest of them. Blue trying to get in tow. He does not have DRS, though, because the detection point was before the hairpin. They're going to go side by side up ahead, though. The Renault driver braking much later than the Mercedes. Blue trying to go around the outside through turn number 4, and he retains the position. So how about that for him? Tisu comes into the pits and retires from the session as well. He's our second retirement of the day. Unfortunate for the Red Bull driver, but this battle right here, nothing between the 3 of them as they go through the final sector now. Kev Genix currently sitting P9, kind of stuck behind F1 Racer and Blue at this time. I believe Racer was at the head of this train. Blue made an overtake that we must have missed, and now it looks like F1 Racer tried to respond. Meanwhile, bad Max AMG looking to make another move on Caduza. Yes, he's going to go up the inside. The Ferrari driver, the Dutchman, trying to make the move on the German. He's got it stick. Korsak looking to go the inside as well, trying to make a move on Duza as well. They're going to go side by side going into turn number 4, and Korsak is through, and he's up to P5. Duza down to P6. That is huge for Duza. He loses 2 positions in 2 corners. Meanwhile, Kev Genix has cleared F1 Racer. It looks like Racer made a mistake into the hairpin, and he came out worse for wear as Kev Genix now up into P8. But Lenny rounding the final corner now, 2 laps to go. So not much time left for some of these last lap overtakes. Everything's still going off, it looks like. Drivers making these overtakes stick with Korsak moving up and Max AMG moving up, and Kev Genix all gaining positions on that previous lap. Both two. The question is now, can Korsak, now that Max AMG ahead doesn't have DRS, will he be able to defend? Korsak is all on the rear wing now and diffuser of the Ferrari up ahead. He's going to switch to the left-hand side of the track now, and the Chinese driver is going to be ahead before turn, well before turn, and the Racing Point is up ahead. But does the Ferrari behind have a response? No. Korsak gets such a good run out of the corner, and Max will not have a response. Korsak up to P4, Max down to P5. In the background, though, Kev Genix is gaining a lot down the final DRS straight. He's going to swing to the right-hand side of the track, and he's going to have the move stick on Blue. But they're going to go side by side on exit, though. Blue able to brake really late on those hards. Very impressive stuff by the Renault driver, but he's not able to hang around the outside this time around. And Kev Genix has overtaken Blue for P7. They both have the same amount of penalties now, and that is for net position. But let's look at our current race leader, Lenny. Lenny on the final lap of the race right now. He's got a 5.4 second gap to Christian Sandel, leading the drivers home on the last lap. It's been an absolutely dominant performance. I haven't really got a chance to talk about him so much, but Lenny dominating the field right now, showing the field who's boss. Blue picking up a time penalty. That will not help him as he tries to re-overtake Kev Genix. He's going to go for the move, though. He's going to go to the right-hand side of the tracks. He's ahead of Kev Genix in the braking zone. He won't get DRS down this next straight, if I am right. Up ahead, Korsak having to defend a little bit from Max AMG, but I believe Korsak has the position. But yes, there you go. Blue is through on Kev Genix. Both of them basically out of ERS. Kev Genix going up the inside, though. They're going to go side by side going up through the middle sector, and Blue hanging around the inside. But it looks like Blue out of the position, but it does not matter because Lenny crosses the line and wins at Austria. He is our first race winner of the season. Great job by the Renault driver. And oh, we got contact in the background. Maestro Hoffy and Regas both off track. Not sure what happened there. Jan Feinler, meanwhile, was able to overtake Christian Sandel before the end of the race. We missed that out. He will finish P2. Christian Sandel will plummet down the order. Max AMG finishes P3. Korsak P4. Duza P5. Christian will finally finish P6. Kev Janix finishes 7th on track, but Deads jumps all the way up to 7th due to penalties. F1 Racer P8. Kev Janix 9th. By Blue rounds out our top 10 today. Regas and Maestro Hoffy will be 11th and 12th. Moxie P13th. Acti P14th. Ojciech in P15th. Brownie will finish all the way up to P13th due to penalties. And Patrick will round out our finishers today. Soulfly is retired on the final lap on 31 lap old hards. Very impressive drive being able to make those tires lap 31 laps, but it looks like it was not able to work in the end for him. But that is your final results. Lenny Pienhart with a dominant race victory here in Austria here for the Austrian Grand Prix. Regas is your games driver of the day. I'm going to have to think for a second on who my driver of the day is because Lenny was certainly dominant, to say the least. I think I'm going to have to give it to Lenny, to be honest. He didn't gain or lose any positions throughout the race. Started from first, made the right strategy call, was able to have enough of an overcut on Jan Fehler to clear that traffic. And because of that, he was able to pull away and run away from the race. So hats off to Lenny for that race victory. The first one of the season, and he is now your championship leader. Renault being, I believe, the leaders of the constructors, because a lot of constructors scored points today. But there you have it. Lenny, your race winner here today. Max AMG will be P3. Jan Fehler got P2. Korsak P4. Duza in P5. Christian Sandel P6. Deads P7. Great job for him. Brazilian up in P7. F1 Racer finishing P8, Kev Janix P9, and By Blue rounding out your top 10 today, folks. We'll go ahead and take a look at quickly at the drivers' tire strategies and the incident report real fast in case any drivers would like to look at the race director after the race and if they don't record it. So they have it for their own use in case they need it, so nothing wrong with that. But a very impressive overall drive there from Lenny to take a commanding race victory. 7.2 seconds ahead of his nearest rival, of Jan Fehler, who made that overtake on Christian Sandel at the end there. So it looks like Sandel's tires went off towards the end. So unfortunate that he picked up those time penalties. But finishing P6, still pretty good job for the German driver. So that is your race for today, folks. Great job for all the drivers here today. No on track, no really big collisions. We had the one spin there, but other than that, it's kind of been it was a pretty straightforward race. No safety cars or anything. So that is, it's a little unfortunate. We didn't get to see anything really spice it up, but I'm sure some of the drivers, they didn't mind it because of the penalty situation that occurred. But this is a great dominating performance by Lenny once again. And we'll go ahead and see if any of the drivers would like a post-race interview. If not, we'll give them a few minutes in case they do. If not, that's okay. Hopefully we'll get some going forward. And like I said, going forward, I'll do my best to get that overlay working. I have the G-Swap one, so hats off to those creators. So it should look very nicely, or very nice for us. I got the driver numbers set up. I was just having some issues with the keybinds and actually having it not crash. So I will work on that and improve the overall viewing experience. So yes, that is, I'll kind of hang out for a minute, kind of look back at a little bit. Let's kind of get a little bit more info on some of our drivers here today. So Lenny, let's see, is he, I'm not sure if he's a new driver to AOR or just a new driver to the top split, but he had a absolutely phenomenal performance today. My voice is dead. You can tell that was a fun race considering how my voice is dead. That's how I'd like to use it as my own benchmark. But we do have an interview. It looks like Jan Fehler, our second place finisher, would like to have a little chat, so let's go ahead and bring him in here. I'm going to have to drink some water after this race. Hopefully it's not too bad, but let me go ahead and give me a sec and I'll bring him in. Hello there. How are you feeling after the first race of the season, getting a P2? Yeah.
Just turn down your volume there. All right. Feeling fine. I would have liked to win, of course, and I'm sure we would have had a great duel with Lenny for P1 there for the win. Unfortunately, the pit stops turned out a bit bad when I exited the pits and had a bunch of traffic ahead of me that absolutely killed my outlap. And then he had a major overcut on me and then just ran away when I was still dealing with traffic. So that
Yeah.
kind of killed it for me because I also had to use a lot of ERS, and then obviously didn't have a lot to catch up to Lenny. And when you have similar pace, then you're not going to catch anyone. So that killed it for me. But apart from that, I had 2 warnings after lap 8. And was very concerned about a time penalty. And then I saw Christian ahead of me just collecting them left, right, center.
Yeah, he collected
So
them pretty quickly.
happy I was clean on that one, and then I guess P2 is good for a start of the season.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, did you when you came into the pits? Now, do you use like full race map for the map, or do you just do local? And did you have any idea that there was that train of cars there that might have been a dilemma, or was it just kind of like, oh crud, can't come out of the pits, and there's just a bunch of cars in my way?
I didn't notice that there's a bunch of cars on my way then. I saw that there's a big train of cars all the way to like P10 or 12, I think.
Yeah.
I think we were all pretty much close together, and then there was a bit of a gap to cars. But then I just thought there's a bit of room at least. All I would have needed was one outlap with clean air, and then the undercut would have worked, I guess.
Yeah.
That's at least what I found in practice yesterday in the evening. But yeah, I didn't even have that like out of the pits, and even then immediately I had to overtake people, so that obviously costs time everywhere. I was just not aware that there's already traffic then.
Yeah, I do agree. Now, one other thing I noticed is that you put on the hard tires and not the mediums. Because from what I've been told, the mediums can last to the end. What was the strategy behind it? Do you just feel like the mediums just don't work for you around the track, or what was the mindset behind that decision?
The mediums do last to the end. You saw that with Christian Sandel. I think he pitted 2 laps later than me though.
Okay.
So you have to go like lap 14 or 15 on softs to make it work. And I just wanted to make the undercut because fresh hards are quicker than old softs.
Yeah.
And also the mediums will drop off in the end. I mean, I think you saw that in the end. I was catching Christian Sandel as well in the final 5 laps or so.
Yeah.
So I think in hindsight it was still the right strategy call. Yeah, that's just the entire reason. The hards are consistent all the way until the end with their lap times as well. They're quick all the way through. And the mediums drop off in the end, so I thought I want to have the advantage at the end of the race. And of course at the pit stop phase when I come into the pits earlier,
Yeah.
because obviously you can pit earlier then.
And in theory, you had the right strategy there. Excuse me, but just kind of a little bit of an unfortunate event. But that's racing though. I mean, you still came out P2. You were able to work your way through that traffic sooner rather than later, and you weren't held up like some of the guys behind you, like Duza and them. So, you excited for what the season's got to offer? Seeing how today went for you?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I said beforehand I want to fight for the title this year for sure, and knowing the drivers from last season, like Sandel, Brownie, who would think had a bit of a stinker today, said he wrote me that he had a bit of a coming together with someone, so that's unfortunate. But also then new guys like Lenny today. I think AOR Max was also quite quick. You have those up there, so we definitely should have a good title fight all the way until the end, and I'm looking forward to be in it hopefully.
Yep.
Until the end.
I guess my last question for you today is, you got second place, you're sitting second in the championship, so you're right in the hot seat. Do you think you can keep that momentum going and possibly compete for the victory on Suzuka, or are you not sure about that track coming up?
Because there's a Challenger Series race next week at Suzuka, I would have to say I'm looking forward to that and win that, but but I don't know. Everything. I mean, qualifying is going to be even more important there than in Austria, and then it just depends how it goes. I mean, like last season when you have I learned when you have an early safety car in Suzuka, you can pit for hards and go to the end, but you have puncture territory in the last 3 laps, and I'm always the only one who gets a puncture in the end, so I don't know if I would risk that again. But I guess in the end I would have to, so you never know.
I guess we'll have to wait and see what it brings. I mean, good luck with the Challenger Series race this week. Congratulations on the podium to start the season. I'm sure you would have wanted the race victory, but hey, you got 11 more races to go, and it's looking like it's going to be an exciting fight this season.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Take care and have a wonderful night.
I will, so do you.
Thank you. So that was the voice of Jan Fehler coming in for a post-race interview. He finished P2 on the grid. And do take a look at the Challenger Series this week. He is one of 16 or 15 drivers that they usually field who'll be using it on the official F1 channel. Christian Sandel, yes. I do not think that's a penalty record. I mean, you had a lot of penalty seconds, but I believe we've seen over 20 before. So you're going to have to try a little harder if you want to get that record. But please don't try too hard because I don't know if you want that title. Especially. So, but that's okay. We'll see what next week brings for us. Just a reminder, next week we'll be back at the same time and for all of qualifying. I promise you that. I won't have any delays. I'll make sure it all gets fixed out. For Suzuka, it'll be round number 2 of this 12-race season. Plenty of action coming on. But in the meantime, before then, you can keep an eye on the AOR YouTube channel. There are other leagues going on. We've got the iRacing GT3 League racing tomorrow, I believe. Don't know what track, so I apologize for not knowing that. And then the LMP2 Project Cars series is racing later on in the week. So plenty of more racing to come on the AOR YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and watch the races. Thank you for watching today. I am Fizzymon, and I'll be signing off and hopefully seeing you guys next week for round number 2 at Suzuka. That is all for you today. Take care and have a wonderful night. Oh, I just saw the last track before I full on. If Lenny wants an post-race interview, we can do that real fast, actually. Even though I did just give a closing thing. Sorry for that late comment. I only just saw that now. But yeah, we'll hold off for ending the stream if Lenny wants an interview. So I'll hang off 1 sec. We'll do that last minute, and then I'll redo the closing speech. Yeah, as I said, hopefully we'll see if we can get him in. If not, we'll give him a minute, since I did kind of just give a closing. Well, that's okay. It happens. All right, well, hopefully we'll hear from him next week. That'll be all for me today. It's been a wonderful race, plenty of action, and hopefully we'll hear from more drivers next week. Definitely spread the word if more drivers want to do interviews. Like, it doesn't matter where they finish. We're happy to have them in the box and hear what they thought of the race. So thank you guys for watching, and be sure to tune in for more racing this coming week. Thank you once again for joining us today, and have a wonderful day.